o'clock. I'm going to call this meeting to order. Mr. Gibbs, will you please read the statement of compliance?
In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, Public Law 1975, Chapter 231, notice of this meeting has been properly advertised in the Daily Record and Suburban Trends. Its agenda has been posted at the appropriate locations, and a copy has been filed with the Pequannock Township Clerk.
Thank you. Please call the roll.
Mr. Bloomer?
Here.
Mr. Cerisi?
Here.
Mrs. Esposito?
Here.
Mr. Gittin?
Here.
Ms. Akeo?
Here.
Mr. McSweeney?
Here.
Mr. Pompeo?
Here.
Mr. Senick?
Here.
And Ms. Shenton will be late. We have a quorum.
All right. Thank you. Will everyone please stand for the flag salute?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our February 18th regular business meeting. I have a brief update before we get to our honorees. The board held our annual winter retreat last week. The retreat is organized into two sessions. The first session is where the board meets with the district administration to openly discuss district goals and progress, new initiatives, action plans for improvement where needed, and areas where the board can effectively collaborate with the administration to promote and support student achievement. The discussion was exciting, candid, and very productive. I have to say that it was the best retreat experience I've had as my time on the board and really highlights the outstanding partnership between the board and the administration. Simply stated, we both are striving towards the same goal, which is an outstanding education for all Pequannock students. I want to thank Dr. Portis and the entire administrative team for a great discussion, and I'm looking forward to a productive year ahead. The second session is where the board establishes new goals for the year. Last year, the board had 3 goals, and all 3 were accomplished. This year, the board established 4 goals. While the actual language of the goals is still being finalized, the intent of each goal is as follows. Goal 1, continue to support the district both through governance and financial means in multi-tiered student support and student achievement. Goal 2, ensure our policies are updated to account for new topics such as AI. Goal 3, investigate and review the best use of the property at 7 Industrial Road. Goal 4, maintain Carol E. Larson Master Board certification by attending the required group training. While we have already started working on these goals, we're going to meet again in the summer retreat in August to review the progress of each as we go through the year. And now on to the honorees. This year, the sports programs at PV are on fire, and tonight is an outstanding example. Tonight, we're going to honor both the boys and girls basketball teams for winning county championships. And we're going to honor Brandon Danio for winning first place in the county wrestling tournament at 123 pounds. Outstanding job. So before I pass it off to Dr. Portis, I just want to congratulate you all on becoming champions and say great job and well done.
Thank you, Mr. Senick. I'm going to actually pass it right over to the Ziegler twins for the student report.
Good evening, everyone. So glad to see you all again. Pequannock Township High School is hosting a Game on Gavin fundraiser on February 21st at 7 p.m. when our Golden Panthers boys basketball team takes on Roxbury Gales in our final regular season game at home. The girls basketball team will also be hosting a Game on Gavin game the next day at 12 o'clock p.m. against St. Elizabeth. As he battles leukemia, Gavin continues to love basketball and watches the game regularly from home and in person when he can. We want him to know that his supporters in the Golden Panther community and beyond are teaming up with him in his fight. On Friday, February 21st, we would like to have a Wear Orange for Gavin Day in the district. All fans who attend the game that night and on Saturday are encouraged to wear orange and cheer for Gavin and the Golden Panthers. An interest session was held on Thursday, February 11th at 6:30 p.m. for the Shared Time Morris County VOTEC Allied Health Program. Applicants who are interested in applying for the MCVT for their junior and senior years and attend our Allied Health Program attended the evening. Mrs. Murata, Supervisor of the Math and Allied Health, and Mr. Hazer presented about the Allied Health Academy. The junior class had a great time at their winter formal on Friday, February 7th. The formal was held at the Barnyard and Carriage House in Totowa. A special thank you to the class officers and to Mrs. Davis, who helped organize this amazing event. Emily will finish the rest.
Congratulations to the following students who qualified for the state group meet and winter track. Chase Salfino and Xavier Trinidad, who qualified in the 1600 meter. John Reitz and Chase Salfino in the 200 meter. And Claire Siddig in the 55 meter hurdles. And the girls 4x400 relay. The hockey team won the Silver Cup on Thursday night with a 6-5 win against Lakeland. Congratulations to Kyle Gregory, who was named MVP. The PTHS will be hosting Mr. and Mrs. Pequannock this Thursday at 7 p.m. in the auditorium. National Honor Society is sponsoring this event. 4 girls and 4 boys will be highlighting special talents, answering questions, dressing up, and having fun for charity. Allied Health students are volunteering at Project Cure, which involves medical supplies and equipment to countries in need this coming Friday. Congratulations to Claire Badami, who was accepted in the NJSMA Intermediate Regional Course. Any student who is interested in taking the March SATs are busy preparing and signing up for the test. PTHS held our first talent show of the year on Friday. There were several acts, including Mr. Shirazi playing the guitar and Dr. Thimmel serenading the crowd. We had several student acts as well. Thank you for your time and have a great night.
Thank you, girls. And I'm guessing this rather large turnout is not here to hear the superintendent report. So I'm going to go ahead and move it over to Mr. Silipina for our athletic recognitions.
Good evening. Thank you, Dr. Portis and Board of Education, for allowing me to take part again in tonight's Board of Education meeting. Tonight, we're here to celebrate an outstanding athletic achievements that took place in 3 of our PV sports programs. First, I'd like to recognize an outstanding student athlete, Brandon Daniel, at PV. He won the county wrestling championship at 123 pounds. At this moment, I'd like to call up Coach Sika to talk about this amazing accomplishment and present a certificate.
Again, thank you to the board for recognizing Brandon. Brandon's season 14-0. He went into the 3rd period during one match, and that was actually a kid from Dover who was actually the strongest kid he wrestled. Not most talented, but he pinned his way through. The county tournament didn't go out of the 1st period. You know, he wrestled the same kid twice. 3-quarter Nelson. If you know the move, your neck doesn't feel too well after that. So the kid ended up getting hit when he pinned his way through the county. So, I mean, I'm really looking forward to seeing Brandon wrestle at the high school level next year because, you know what, not much competition this year at the middle school level, but again, he's got bigger and better things ahead of him. So I give you Brandon Daniel, 123-pound county champ.
Thank you, Coach Sika. Next, I'd like to recognize the boys PV basketball team for winning the county championship this year. Another county championship for the boys program, another outstanding year, but this time under first-year head coach Colin McBride. Please welcome Coach McBride as he presents the certificates.
All right. Before we get started here, I just want to thank the parents and I want to thank Coach Mike Zumo for all his help this year. My background mainly is in football. So learning the X's and O's of basketball was, a lot of work and things like that. And it would not have been possible without him. So if we get a round of applause for Coach Zumo, that'd be appreciated. The season for us this year was marked by, lots of great leadership and lots of competition in and out of every day and every practice. So special round of applause for Braden Bell and Matthew Sherburne as well. But, aside from just our, two captains that we had formally recognized, right, this team had no shortage of leadership. And that is the key to winning also at the next level in high school, right? You can't just rely on a couple people to be leaders of the team. So I hope you guys recognize that if you were not named captain, your leadership was also critical to the success that we had this year. Another big thing to emphasize is competition. There were a lot of moments this year where our practices and the game time scenarios that we practice, every day felt more competitive than the actual games themselves, right? So if you practice like that every day, getting 1% better, right, those are going to be the big keys to victory. All right. So fellas, give yourselves a round of applause for an undefeated season. You should be very proud. Call them up. All right. So we're going to start calling up some names. So Coach Zumo, if you come up here first. Okay. Brody by call. Bryce by call. Braden Bell. Alan Brundage. Jean Cataldi. Ronan D'Amico. Shane Friedman. Matthew Gilligan. Liam Hahn. Joseph Laborda. Owen Lamoriello. Jake Martino. Chase McGovern. Thomas McHugh. Adriel Manier. Jeffrey Picardo. Lucas Rivera. Austin Ruby. Ethan Chicalo. Matthew Sherburne. And Evan Van Wingerden.
Thank you, Coach. And finally, I'd like to recognize the PV girls basketball team on winning the county championship this year. It's no surprise to me that this group won a title as they were dominant all season long. Please welcome Coach Halsey as she presents her team with certificates.
Thank you, everyone. First, I want to congratulate the boys. Mr. McBride, Coach McBride, you started yourself off in your career pretty well there. And Mr. Zumo, thank you for all your help too. Parents, thank you for everything. If you can believe it, I know I look really young, but this is my 24th year coaching in Pequannock. And every year it's a different experience. And I have to say, this is one of the best groups that I've ever had. Worked hard, every grade level got along. You would never know who was a sixth grader, who was a seventh grader, who was an eighth grader. Great leadership. I never really had to tell them to do anything. Like they got out what they needed, they put away what they needed, they handed out the lanyards for the bus. Everything was always done, which is a really great quality to have, not just in sports, but in life, that they have that leadership and determination all the time. So we finished the season 11-1 this year. Our one loss was to West Essex, who ended up winning the Group 4 championship, and we were supposed to play them a second time, but unfortunately the stomach bug hit their team. So they say. We thought they were just a little scared to play us a second time, but and in talking to their coaches at the county tournament, they basically said we could have played 20 times against each other, and 10 times we would have won and 10 times they would have won. They were great competition. We did pick up a few new teams this year. We didn't go as far away as Roxbury and a couple of new places. We picked up a strong Sparta team. But it was a great season, and I look forward to the future of Pequannock basketball. You even hear a couple of siblings in there, some names I recognize that I grew up with. So, the boys and the girls program has a big future coming. So I'd like to thank Coach Rogers, my assistant, for coming at all our games. And I was bribed that I have to thank my daughter Caitlin for her support. But in all honesty, I started coaching. I was right out of college, wasn't married, didn't have kids. I always said I would keep doing it as long as I enjoyed it. And when I did get married and have kids, I said I'll keep doing it as long as it doesn't have a negative impact on my kids. And honestly, them growing up in the gym, like I can't imagine anything better. Like having all these girls to be role models for them has been absolutely amazing. And one of my kids just went through the program and another one's coming up. So we'll see how long I continue to do this, but I just love coaching. I love Pequannock basketball, and excited to watch what these kids do in the future. All right. So Coach Rogers, you want to come out and hand out? This is yours. All right. Sorry if I mess up names, I get nervous. Unfortunately, our two team managers have a game right now, so they couldn't be here, but we'd like to thank Valentina Carucci and Zoe Lisenbold for being our team managers this year. All right, and then we're going to go in alphabetical order. So Emma Bloomert. Carly Boardman. Elena Baranitz. Gwen Cannon. Elizabeth Cook. Elena D'Amico. Emma Hausch. Samantha Healy. Alana Laborda. Megan Manili. Valentina Herrera. Annabelle Pacio. Daniela Parker. Allison Pomeroy. Kelsey Ramirez. Skyla Rosa. Alexandra Tripp. Megan Toot. Olivia Young. And Sarah Zegler. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you to our coaches and athletes for your commitment to your programs and your desire to be great. Athletes, we look forward to you working hard in high school and representing Golden Panther pride. Thank you again to the Board of Education for your continued support of all of our athletic programs. Thank you and have a great night. Appreciate it. See you soon.
All right, few things clear a room quicker than the promise of a superintendent report. All right, thank you everyone for coming out tonight and congratulations again. It's nice too. I told a few of the players, I look forward to doing the same time next year. Not one of them flinched. So hopefully we'll have this coming back again next February. All right. For my report, a few items. First off, we're celebrating Random Acts of Kindness Week this week, which is part of our character education program. That's a critical anti-bullying measure. For to focus on the positive, that's why I point out it's character ed as opposed to double negative, anti and bullying. Really, the best way to prevent negative behaviors is by promoting the positive. And it's human nature, when we feel good about ourselves and others, we are significantly less inclined to engage in actions that hurt others. That's what this week helps to celebrate. Our students are still learning about social dynamics and will still make mistakes as they figure things out. We want to emphasize that kindness and goodness feel a lot better than the short-term sadistic glee of being cruel. In short, be excellent to each other. It's from a movie. A few updates from the district. One is last year we set a goal in the NJ Well program to reach 25% successful completion of all eligible staff members. This is an incentive program offered by an insurance carrier. Successful participants in the program that runs from November 1st through October 31st each year must earn 800 points, a portion of which must come from a health screening annually with their physician in order to earn a $250 gift card. As a further incentive, districts that achieve 25% successful participation will receive a 1% reduction in their insurance premiums, which probably doesn't sound like a lot, but it translates to about $80,000. For the 22-23 program year, we had 33 staff members reach their goal, which is good, but not great. To further incentivize the program, we offered to split the reward money between the district budget and the successful participants and pushed really hard to get the word out about the program, which has myriad benefits. We estimated that we needed 62 or 63 people to achieve that goal this year, and we found out we achieved our number. We didn't achieve it by much. We got 62 people on the nose. But this great news, this is really great news for everyone involved and should provide some relief to our budget, as well as putting some extra cash in the pockets of our staff members. And a really nice benefit too is it encourages staff wellness. As I said before, when people feel good, they tend to perform better. So I'm really excited for the success of that program. Mr. Senek already alluded to it, but we enjoyed a successful board retreat on Thursday night. I can tell you in my 12 years as an administrator and superintendent, I found it to be the most successful conversation and just overall event that I've been a part of. So let's definitely keep that momentum going. As he said, we provided updates on district goals and initiatives, really got the admin team involved in providing those updates. And then that helped promote open discussion between the administrative team and the board. And then we worked on generating board goals for the calendar year, which will help to inform the district goals that we set in July. Real highlight for me is to see the dynamic between the two groups with which I work very closely, obviously the admin team, as well as the Board of Education. The respect that our board has for the administrative team is palpable and certainly appreciated. And though we do not record these meetings, nor should we, the retreat, that is, those interactions could have served as a powerful recruiting video for prospective applicants for any position in our district. Happy to report that our preschool and inclusive playground committee, which I haven't really publicized all that much just yet, is making progress on the community project to open a playground that will accommodate the needs of our preschool students and students with diverse needs. We have targeted an opening date of September 2026 at North Boulevard, and we'll be looking for support from community groups and corporate donors to complement the contribution from the school district and potentially the township, as well as grant funding through Jake's Law and possibly Green Acres funding. Finally, I want to remind everyone that the district is going orange on Friday to support our friend Gavin in his battle against leukemia. He and his family have been incredibly strong, and we hope to gather the formidable strength of our close-knit community to further support them. The theme for our boys basketball game that night and the girls basketball game the next day will be an orange out, and even our friends from Roxbury, who will be our opponents on the court but our neighbors in the gym that night, are getting involved. Donations will be accepted, but more than anything, I want to stress the importance of the power of many to support one of our own. T-shirts are starting to come in. They look great. Game on, Gavin. That concludes my report.
Before we go to Mr. Gibbs, I have a question for you on the report. Is that quote from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure?
Yes, the be excellent to each other is actually from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Okay, I just wanted to get that on the record.
Yep. And as silly as the movie is, it is a brilliant, brilliant line. If you distilled life down to being excellent to each other, how much better would life be?
I hear you. Mr. Gibbs, do you have a report?
Yes. Good evening. On the board agenda this evening, there is a resolution to increase the tuition charged for the 2025-2026 school year in accordance with the state's determination of tuition. The plans for the new preschool and board office are being worked on for a quote for the retrofit up. It's been determined that the school district may have to go out for referendum to fit up the preschool space as well as the playground for the new facility, depending on the quote from the owner/contractor of the building. More information will be provided at future board meetings. Currently, we are awaiting the state-to-state budget address from Governor Murphy, which will be held on February 25th, and the release of state aid amounts to the public schools will be in the afternoon of February 27th. The school district replaced 2 old snow blowers that were 15 years old. The total cost of the new replacement snow blowers was $3,064.60 through the co-op. The old snow blowers will be sold on govdeals.com. And finally, this is just a reminder that if you haven't submitted your financial disclosure statements, to please do so as soon as possible. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Gibbs. That brings us to our first opportunity for public comment. And being that there's nobody here, we have no public comment. We're going to move on to approval of the minutes, and I'm going to ask Mr. Cerisi to please move the minutes for approval.
I would like to move the minutes from January 21st, 2025 through February 3rd, 2025.
Second.
Bloomer, second. Any question or discussion on the minutes? Okay, Mr. Gibbs, please call the roll.
Mr. Bloomer?
Yes.
Mr. Cerisi?
Yes.
Mr. Gittin?
Yes.
Ms. Ikeo?
Yes.
Mr. McSweeney?
Yes.
Mr. Pompeo?
Yes.
Mrs. Chenton?
Yes.
Mrs. Esposito?
Yes.
And Mr. Senek.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, up next is PMC, and I'm going to ask Ms. Shetton to please move the items under PMC.
Absolutely. I'd like to move PMC 153-25 through PMC 168-25.
Second.
Any question or discussion? Mr. Gibbs, please call the roll.
Mr. Bloomer?
Yes.
Mr. Cerisi?
Yes.
Mr. Gittin?
Yes.
Ms. Ikeo?
Yes.
Mr. McSweeney?
Yes.
Mr. Pompeo?
Yes.
Mrs. Shenton?
Yes.
Mrs. Esposito,
Yes.
and Mr. Senick.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, that brings us to CIS, and I'm going to ask Ms. Esposito to please move CIS.
I'd like to move CIS 63-25 through CIS 67-25.
Second.
Question or discussion? Mr. Gibbs, please call the roll.
Mr. Bloomer,
Yes.
Mr. Cerisi,
Yes.
Mr. Gittin,
Yes.
Ms. Ikeo,
Yes.
Mr. McSweeney,
Yes.
Mr. Pompeo,
Yes.
Mrs. Shenton,
Yes.
Mrs. Esposito,
Yes.
and Mr. Senick.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, up next is FFA, and I'm going to ask Mr. Bloomer to please move FFA.
I'd like to make a motion to move FFA 112-25 through FFA 120-25.
Second.
Question or discussion? Mr. Gibbs, please call the roll.
Mr. Bloomer,
Yes.
Mr. Cerisi,
Yes.
Mr. Gittin,
On FFA 113-25, I need to abstain where it pertains to myself, and then yes to everything else.
Ms. Ikeo,
Yes.
Mr. McSweeney,
Yes.
Mr. Pompeo,
Yes.
Mrs. Shenton,
Yes.
Mrs. Esposito,
Yes.
and Mr. Senick.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, Mr. McSweeney, would you please move the items under policy?
Yes, I'd like to move P 13-25.
Second.
Question or discussion? Mr. Gibbs, please call the roll.
Mr. Bloomer,
Yes.
Mr. Cerisi,
Yes.
Mr. Gittin,
Yes.
Ms. Ikeo,
Yes.
Mr. McSweeney,
Yes.
Mr. Pompeo,
Yes.
Mrs. Shenton,
Yes.
Mrs. Esposito,
Yes.
and Mr. Senick.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Mr. Gittin, would you please move the item under other?
I'd like to make a motion to move other O-8-25.
Second.
Question or discussion? Mr. Gibbs, please call the roll.
Mr. Bloomer,
Yes.
Mr. Cerisi,
Yes.
Mr. Gittin,
Yes.
Ms. Ikeo,
Yes.
Mr. McSweeney,
Yes.
Mr. Pompeo,
Yes.
Mrs. Shenton,
Yes.
Mrs. Esposito,
Yes.
and Mr. Senick.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, that brings us to our second opportunity for public comment. Since there's nobody here again, there is going to be no public comment. Moving on to unfinished business. Does any board member have any unfinished business? Any new business? Any board member announcements?
I have two. One is more just a commendation of our janitorial staff for clearing more snow, probably in the last couple of weeks than they have in the last couple of years. So definitely have noticed them in the mornings cleaning out there when everybody else is still nice and warm at home. But also want to commend, as I have to Dr. Portis already, I have noticed that our security staff has been picking up shovels, pouring salt. No one is too big for the job, and I think that's a commendation to the school principals who run the buildings and Dr. Portis, who obviously runs the district. Also last Friday, separately from that, I was invited because of my day job in the medical device industry to speak with the allied healthcare students, the seniors. I have to tell you, they asked some of the best questions after me having a little panic attack. They were not going to ask any questions. They asked some great questions, had some great discussions, really, really smart kids, real sharp. And I got to tell you, my wife pointed out to me the next day that on social media, they had posted a little bit of what I did, but more importantly, they posted a video of one of the students walking through one of the devices that I left behind. And almost word for word, after only hearing it once, she got it exactly right. So that's pretty cool. So I just want to commend those students, those teachers, and obviously the allied health program in general.
I got one on February 12th. I attended the PTEA Friends of Education dinner. 4 people were honored: Seth Bergen, Maria Kletcher, Victoria Vella, and Deborah Zegler. It's the second year I attended this dinner. It's always it's a great dinner, and I had a good time. So thanks for having me.
I too attended the PTA Friends of Education dinner. It was, yes, definitely a great event. 4 very deserving recipients. And the hosted at Barty's, they did a fantastic job. Also, just to let public know, the negotiations team has entered into meetings with the PTA on the next teacher contract, and we expect to have very cordial interaction with the union to make the best contract we can.
Anybody else?
Just want to make a quick announcement too. Welcome to Aldo Grammatica, who is working the tech tonight. Mr. Shea is obviously up there helping him out as well, but welcome to our team, and we're glad that you could be here as part of our board meetings as well. Welcome.
All right, we do not have a reason to go into executive session tonight, so we will adjourn. Our next meeting will be March 3rd here at the high school. Everyone come out. It's at 7 o'clock. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Good night, everyone.
I-